Well, thank you, Kelly, for joining us. And thank you, everyone who took the time today after a long day, on a Monday especially, to join us. I think this resource is going to be very useful. And Kelly is here to show us how to use it, what it is, how to use it. It's basically geared for grade 10 to 12, and it's very heavily aligned with the DELF, which is fantastic. So thank you, Kelly, and I'm going to let you take it away. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat, and I will ask the questions when we have a pause. All right? Does that sound okay? Great.
Yep.
Okay,
sounds good.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, everyone, for attending today. Let me share my screen and get started. I won't waste too much of your time today. Hopefully, I won't waste any of your time. So I want to start off by saying that my job here at Pearson is to support our teachers all across Canada who are using any of our digital resources. I do have a bit of expertise in the FSL area because I helped build these resources some years ago, but I support everything digital. So the idea here is when anybody buys anything digital from Pearson, I come with the purchase. I'm an extra value that gets added. So after today, I'm at the other end of your email. So please do send me an email. Let me put it in the chat actually before I forget. How do I do that? Hold on. Oops, I think I stopped sharing. Anyway, now I can see the chat better. So let me put my email address in the chat. So after today, if you still have questions or if you want to see something, please just reach out. Don't spend too much time. Don't stress. Don't fret. Just reach me and I will happily show you what you need to know. And also, I do speak French, je parle français, but I prefer to speak in English. Just that's where my comfort level is. But please do speak to me in French if that's where your comfort level is. I'm happy to, I can understand everything you're going to say if you speak in French. Okay. Jusqu'au bout. You would have received now your teacher registration instructions and your student registration instructions. So this is one of the only products that we sell so far that includes both. Typically, everything else, you need to buy teacher access and you need to buy student access. But this program is both included in the purchase. So I'm logged in now as a teacher, and I will walk you through the resources, and I will start off by saying that the students see absolutely everything that you see except this very last, so that your resources are split up into 6, let's call them folders, 6 boxes. You and students have access to everything. Except the students do not have access to the last folder, the last box called les ressources pédagogiques. They'll see it there, sitting there, but when they go to click on it, they'll get an error message that says, no, sorry, this is for teachers only. This is not for student access. But everything else is exactly the same. So I'm actually going to start here with the first folder called à propos. This is just a quick, and you click the Explorer button to open any of the folders. So the à propos folder is really just about Jusqu'au bout. It gives you a little bit of information here about the CEFR, or en français on dit le CECR. So this is really the framework that this platform, this program was built on. And of course, also I think we have some information in here about the DELF. We do, the DELF, here it is. So we do tell you that this program is very useful and will help your students to succeed in the DELF diploma. So a little bit of information about the program. And now down here, a little bit of information, an aperçu, a little snapshot of what the different situations sociales are. So we use that term instead of saying theme or module or unit. So really, because these themes are really based around social situations that students of this age could very likely be encountering in their lives. So we have them divided up between the different levels. Now it's really important to notice here that it's not level A2, it's vers le A2, which really is because you will be moving your students into level A2 by doing these activities. And the same, so it's not, they're not at level A2, these are activities to get students to level A2. I hope that makes sense. It's a pretty important distinction there. So here in the apropos section, we give you a short little snapshot. So the first one is in sortie canadienne. So you can see here a sentence that describes what this situation is about. It tells you what the action task is. So every unit comes with, every situation comes with an action task. Then the next one, je planifie mon été. And so a quick sentence or two and the action task, and then non à l'exclusion. So, and then again, a description and the action task. So this helps you and your students possibly decide, first of all, which level, the decision about the level is a different decision that can come with a diagnostic lesson that you could do with them. But then you might want to have them read these and decide, well, which one should we do? This is the level we're going to do. Which of the actual situations appeals to you to do first? So all those little descriptions are here in the apropos section. So I'm going to go back to the home page so that all of that's in the first folder. Then we've got the actual situation divided by level, vers le A2. So we click explore. And here we see the 3 situations sociales. So here they are. This is where you and your students will access all of the texts and everything. So let's just pick the first one, in sortie canadienne. I'm going to click it. So here it is, Jonathan et son ami, blah, blah, blah. So this is they're planning a typical Canadian activity for 2 new friends who happen to be new immigrants. So that's the activity. We give you and the students the task, and then the action task. And then importantly, we give the students the learning outcomes. So in this section, in this unit, they will be learning how to accueillir quelqu'un, demander ou proposer quelque chose, exprimer des sentiments. So these are all the things that students will be doing throughout this unit. Then we get to the actual reading texts, les textes de lecture. So there are 8, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't count. I think there's between 6 and 10 texts, reading texts in every situation. So let's just click the first one and see what they look like. So Tu veux m'aider is the name of the first one, and it opens in its own window, and you can see it's a little bit interactive in the sense that I'm scrolling down now and you can see these text messages. This conversation is popping up between 2 friends. So this is what your students will be reading. This is the first text de lecture. So they get to the end of it all. We won't wait for them all to show up, but this is one type of reading text that students will be interacting with. And this particular one appeals to me from a language point of view because this lesson actually teaches some text, some SMS shortcuts and some slang, I guess you might call it. So as you read through here, you'll see some things that might not look like proper official language and grammar, but this is how students at this age express themselves. So here, je suis crevée. So the part of the lesson is teaching that je is kind of a slangy way of saying je suis. Je. I say it more suis, but that's just me. I guess it depends on where you were raised or what your accent is, but je or suis. And then there's, I don't know, here, beaucoup, there's BCP, beaucoup de Tunisiens. So there's all this extra little language, interesting things that are built into this particular text, and all of this is explained in the lesson itself. Now, with these texts, always keep an eye up here on the top right corner. We have some icons, some blue or turquoise colored icons. So every text comes with an additional audio text. So I want to highlight the fact that the audio is not a read aloud of the written text. At this age level, we are not providing read aloud. We're providing additional texts in an audio only format. So it'll be related to this. It will be, I'm going to guess this is still going to be a conversation between two people, but it's audio. So I'm going to show you how to access it. You just click it and the audio.
Hi, Kelly. So
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
Il y a des personnes qui ne voient pas ton écran.
So I turned on the audio for this particular text. It's called Tu veux m'aider. I turned it on by clicking the audio button icon, and the player shows up over here on the left-hand side. And I click play, and I'm not sure if you're going to hear my audio, but let's give it a try.
Je t'ai vu en maths et aussi en sciences.
C'est bien ce que je pensais. Eh bien, moi, c'est Jonathan. Tu es nouveau? Je ne me souviens pas de t'avoir.
Okay, so I'm hoping you heard that. It's the main character of this situation sociale. His name is Jonathan. So he's talking and he's meeting this new student for the first time. So this is an audio only text, and it goes with this reading text. So it's very important to realize it's not a read aloud. We haven't provided read alouds at this level. So hopefully your students will actually be able to read this reading level. So that's audio. You turn it on and off using the audio icon. The next icon here is les fiches. These are your line masters, les fiches d'activité, les fiches d'évaluation sometimes, les fiches langagières. So all of the line masters and worksheets that you will need and that your students will need for the lesson are available here in this button. I do want to click one and show you what happens. I'm just going to click the first one. It opens in a new window, and this is in fact like a web document. It's a document where students can actually type. I'm obviously not watching what I'm typing here, but I do want to show you that students can input right here directly on the line master. But once they're finished, there isn't an easy way to send this to your teacher. So I'm a student, I filled this out. I have two choices, and neither of them is an email. So you export it as a Word doc. Once I've finished all the typing, I can export it to my own computer, my own hard drive, and it's a Word document. So now I can email it to my teacher. I can put it in Google Classroom. I can convert it to a Google Doc and put it up in our shared folder. Whatever you normally do to receive documents from your students, that's what students can do. Or the other option is to print it. So if they click print, they can send it to a printer, or they can send it to PDF, and now it's a PDF document. And again, email, Google Classroom, LMS, whatever you're using right now to communicate documents back and forth with students. So that is, I'm just going to close that. That's les fiches. And then here we also provide some slides, les diapos. Now these are slides that teachers might want to project during the lesson. I don't know if you noticed what happened, but a PowerPoint file just downloaded. I'm going to open it. And students have access to these and teachers have access to these. And sorry, it just takes a minute. And I'm hoping it's still sharing. I hope it's not just my website. I think you should still be seeing this. These are just different slides that will come into good use during the lesson. during the unit. So here we're inviting, this comes up in your lesson plan, you know, students would choisir une situation. So, and then the questions are, qu'est-ce que tu dis à cette personne? Comment te sens-tu? Quels sont tes sentiments? So these are some questions and situations that are for students to practice. And you might recognize these. This is similar to the DELF exam. And then we're providing here students with some information here about important words. So we invite them to create a concept map. What was the first one? I skipped over it. Oh yeah, les objectifs d'apprentissage. So here again are the learning outcomes that students will be being able to tick off this list throughout the lesson. So all, you know, this is the success criteria that you could, you know, use and show and share with your students. So all of that was available under slides. So each of these, I'm just going to leave that window open. I'm going to go back to Jusqu'au bout, to the website itself. So all of that was available under the very first reading text de lecture. So in total, there are 6 in this unit. And I'll just click the next one. They all have these icons up here in the top right corner. This one has an extra icon here. It says vidéo. So it comes with audio, les fiches d'activité, les diapos, the slides, and a video. So I'll just click the video, and it opens right here in the same window, and you click play.
Notion langagière. Le conditionnel présent. As-tu la...
Okay, anything conditionnel I can't get. It blocks in my brain. So this is a good, like, this is a little grammar sort of mini lesson. It's 3.5 minutes long, and it's about the conditionnel présent. I could use these conditionnel passé. I never know. I get them all mixed up. So this is a great little grammar lesson to support students as they're learning this element in this lesson. This comes up during this lesson. So you just open and close the video by using the icon. And this one is instead of a cell phone messaging back and forth, this is a little bit of a web page that we've created for students to read and gain information. There's all different types of texts. This one is probably, yeah, this is also a web page. Oh, it's like a kind of a Instagram kind of thing where people are commenting, or not Instagram, like Yelp or something. So all different types of interactions with different types of texts. So, and also here in their folder, they have access to other resources. So this is like, you know, for example, un lexique. So here is a bit of a word list and a bit of a grammar list that will be useful during this situation sociale. So here is some langage SMS. So that they're à demain, beaucoup, bonsoir, d'accord. So here's some great texting slang. And then there's some like sort of familiar or casual language, right? Ben, le caf, chou, crevé. So all of the, or wine, I love wine. So all of these things come up during the texts, and so we give them a bit of a lexique here that they can refer to under autres ressources. So all 3 of the, I'll just close this one. All 3 of the situations sociales are set up in the exact same way. I've just opened the next one. Here's the links to the texts. Here's the link to the ressources. So the last thing for me to show you now, I'll just go back to our home page. So we've looked at the à propos section. We've looked at vers le A2. So these are all the texts that will get students to the A2 level. And then the same thing, we won't look at these, but vers le B1, B1 plus, and B2, they're all set up in the same way. And then lastly, we have the ressources pédagogiques, and these are for teachers only. So let me click open. So in here, you start off with, if this interests you, if this is something you want to do, a couple of test diagnostic. So you can use these little tests, these little activities here, lessons. We provide you with PDF documents, some audio files. You can use these to determine if this is the level that most of your students or some of your students are at. So we provide you vers le A2 and vers le B1. So this is not a necessary step, but if you choose to do this, this will tell you where the bulk of your students are. And then here are your teacher materials for the various levels. So we've been looking at une sortie canadienne, so let's stick with those files here. You can see a listing of all of your teacher guide files for this unit. So le guide d'apprentissage is the teacher guide itself. These are your lesson plans. So I can see here it's a roughly 34-page document. It's a PDF document, so you can always print this off if you like, or download it. So we give you some background information. We give you some information about the skills, the language skills in the CEFR. So these are important because they come up later. This compréhension orale, production orale, interaction orale, and then we have compréhension écrite, production écrite, and interaction écrite. So these come up in the right here in the very next chart that I'm about to show you. So the skills are all listed here according to the different activities that are part of the texts. So here's that first text that we looked at. It's called Tu veux m'aider. That was the SMS. That was the cell phone texting messages. So if you do all of these activities 1, 2A, 2B, 2C, and these are listed in your teacher guide lesson plan coming up, you will see which of the language skills you will be addressing. So all of these activities, now let me show you where they are. I'll scroll down into the actual lesson plan itself. Pardon all this scrolling. Information about assessment, I'm scrolling past it all, just because I want to get to the lesson plan, the teaching notes. Sorry, there we are. So it's split up into 4 sections: contextualisation, exploration, le transfert, and le synthèse. So those are the 4 sections of your lesson, and this is where the different activities are located. So here's activity 1, contextualisation. I can see that it's PO, which is production orale. So if you do this one, this is the language skill that you will be addressing. And then for step 2, under exploration, you have a choice of 3 activities, A, B, and C. So you can choose to do all of them, or 1 or 2 or 3, depending on which language skills you're hoping to check off or deal with. So have a look and read through these and see which ones you plan to be doing. And then the third is un choix de 2 activités. So for step 3, you've got 3A and 3B. And then the final is le synthèse. So we give you 2 tasks, 2 tâches that the students could be doing. So these are definitely production tasks, right? So production écrite and orale, and this one is production écrite. So that, in a nutshell, is your lesson plan, which I will just go back to the text, to the website. So that was found here under Guide d'apprentissage. And otherwise, now we're providing you with those same fiches d'activité and fiches langagières, which are language support line masters, and fiches d'évaluation. These are available here for you, the teacher, in Word and PDF. We also give you, if there's any activity cards that come up during this lesson. So let me have a look at this one. So this one is une rencontre ou une proposition. So these are some activity cards. Again, this will be mentioned, and then we've got the reactions, les commentaires et les réactions. So these will come up in your lesson, in your teaching notes. It will tell you to use these cards, cut them up, hand them out, mix them up, pull them out of a bowl. I'm not sure exactly what happens to these, but when there are cards, we provide those separately so that you can print them and cut them up. So, and then we give you a few more items, some des mots langagières. So these are that video which is a language grammar video. We also provide it to you in a PowerPoint slide instead. So if you don't want to play the video, you can scroll through, click through the PowerPoint slides and gain the same information. And then of course we give you the corrigé, so the answer keys for the fiche. So that is your teacher material for Une sortie canadienne. So we won't go through them all because they're all in, you know, a series of links for you here in your teacher folder. And down here at the bottom, we have some preparation scenarios for students who are doing the DELF. So we have a few here that are specific for the DELF that you might want to look at and do with your students at different levels. So let me see, or I'll stop sharing now to see if I can see the videos again and see who's here and if there's any questions. Does anyone want to, open their cameras, open their microphones? Ask away.
Did we show the student?
Yep. So let me share again. The student access is the exact same as the teacher access, but students don't have access to the folder that's called ressource pédagogique. So everything, let me go to the home page here. Everything you see here is the exact same for students, everything except this very last folder. They'll click on it and they'll get an error message. They won't get it.
Des questions dans le chat? Il n'y a rien dans le chat, mais est-ce qu'il y en a qui a des questions? Est-ce que c'est, alors, on a seulement une licence pour 1 an. On voulait l'essayer avant qu'on achète une série de licences. Alors, je suis contente que vous êtes ici parce que de cette façon, vous pouvez l'utiliser cette année puis décider si vous l'aimez ou non pour qu'on peut continuer de l'acheter ou non. Et on a seulement certaines licences pour chaque école. Il y en a des écoles qui ont plus qu'une licence, mais pour chaque licence, on peut mettre autant d'élèves. So, right, Kelly?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, like as many students that you have can use it, can access it. So, and the licenses are, instead of assigned to a teacher, they're more assigned to the school. Is that right? Yeah. Just I'll send them to the curriculum chairs so that at least there's one, like a contact person per school that will have it. So I think that will be the best way to distribute them, along with the student access codes as well. Is there any objection to that? So, okay, there's a question here. To get to this front page, students would require access via password.
So the students first receive from the teacher, they should be receiving registration instructions. So the instructions, which includes a code, and they fill it out and they create their own username and password. so that every time they go to log in, they just put in their username and password that they themselves created.
Okay, and I think I have those instructions. So I'll pass that along with the student code that came with it, that came with the license, right?
Yeah, yeah, and
Okay.
the code is only used the very first time when they set up their account, and
Okay.
then going forward, once they have their username and password, that's what they use every day.
Et est-ce que le code est lié à l'enseignant ou est-ce que chaque élève va recevoir un code en particulier?
So every student gets the same code. It's the same word. Well, it's actually 6 words, but they use it to create their own account, their own username and their own password, so that as a teacher, you don't know it unless you want to know it, and you'll have to ask your students, please tell me your account. But you don't really need to see, there's nothing for you to see. There's no data, there's no grade reporting. If you were to ask for the student, hey, what's your username? And you log in, you won't see anything different. You'll just see this. You'll see this.
Quick question, just because I've seen it happen. If a student forgets their username or password, they have a way to reset it, I assume?
Yeah, it's a bit, I'm going to admit our platform is not great for that. So to be honest, the super easiest thing to do is for you to ask your students, and you keep a record, you keep a spreadsheet. But at this level, they might not want to share that with you, or you might not want to, it's time for them to start being close to being adults. So they should reach out to Pearson, to me, or our customer service department and say, I forgot my password. Can you please look up my account and tell me what it is? So yeah, so let me just show you.
That's great. It's just because I foresee that happening. So it's a way for us to kind of deal with it before we have to.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So this is the login page here. I've already skipped that because I was logged in. So this is the login page, and down at the bottom, they have the choice of se connecter or s'inscrire. So s'inscrire is register, and that's what they do the very first time. They register. But then every other time they connect, they log in, se connecter. But we don't give them a, forgot password link here. Other websites will give you a link where you just say, what's my password? And it's the platform emails them, but that's not going to happen here, unfortunately. They need to actually contact us.
I have a question, please, regarding how long it takes to get through, like how much time should you allot to do vers A2, for example, like one of the 3 options?
So I don't know, to be honest. That's getting a little bit out of my expertise. So that might be in the teacher guide. Let me open it and see. Here, let me move my video so I can open. There should be a timeline in here, le guide d'apprentissage. So I'm just opening up the first one for une sortie canadienne. I'm wondering if it tells us how long. I'm just scanning really quickly. Not seeing a timeline yet, but let me just keep going here. Dans l'évaluation. Okay, so instead of wasting everyone's time with me scrolling and reading and looking, why don't I ask the publisher, the FSL publisher, and get back to you.
Thank you. Because that's important for planning, especially since we haven't used this before.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by it, but I already had long-term plans for the semester. Not to say that I can't modify those, but I would need to know how long it would take me to get through one of these sections so that I know how to juggle the rest of my stuff.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's a legit question. I'm just going to, before we completely stop this question, let me have a quick look in the actual objectif, notion langagière. Do we give any sort of timeline here? I don't see one. Oftentimes the teaching notes will say like 40 minutes or, 3 lessons of 40 minutes. They often say it right here, but I'm not seeing it. So, audio, matériel, transition. No, I don't actually know. I will ask that question on your behalf and get back to you.
Alors, aussitôt que je reçois des nouvelles de toi pour les instructions pour les élèves, je vais envoyer ça aux écoles avec leur accès pour tous les enseignants aussi, right?
Yeah.
Comme ça?
Yeah.
That way it'll be in a nice little folder
Yes.
pour tout le monde.
Yeah.
OK. Alors, si vous pensez à des questions ou vous avez des commentaires, alors Kelly, comme elle a mentionné au début, elle vous a lancé partager son courriel. Alors, si une fois que vous avez commencé à utiliser jusqu'au bout et vous avez des questions ou quelque chose ne fonctionne pas, alors n'hésitez pas de lui contacter aussi. Elle serait définitivement la meilleure personne à contacter que nous autres parce que c'est elle qui est experte. Alors, n'hésitez pas de faire cela. Et en tant que, s'il vous plaît, on vous demande, vraiment, c'est un essai cette année. Alors, on vous demande de partager ce que vous pensez du programme, soit au début, à la fin, comme vous voulez, mais s'il vous plaît, n'hésitez pas de nous laisser savoir qu'est-ce que vous pensez, si ça vaut la peine, parce que vraiment, là, c'est comme ça coûte cher, puis on ne veut pas gaspiller l'argent, faire certain que tout le monde avait quelque chose à utiliser qui est courant et facile à utiliser. Alors, merci Kelly. S'il n'y a plus de questions, je ne vois pas de questions dans le chat, mais on vous remercie pour ton temps et oui, je pense que c'est tout.
Good luck, everybody. Yep, I will get back to Michelle with those instructions.
Excellent. Merci, Kelly. Au revoir tout le monde. Bonne soirée.
Au revoir. Merci.
Bye. Bye.
À vous aussi.